Me, 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 me. Hi, how's it going? Hope everyone is doing well. Uh, it has been, I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for today. I'll stream for a bit, have a chat, we'll answer some questions. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets. Zin is currently editing a video of me interviewing a whale. Well, I mean, that might be how we sensationalize the video. One of our good friends and huge supporters of the channel, Sarge, or JP, as I've realised he would prefer to be called, or is more well known, sat down with me and we chatted about Star Citizen and why he's funded it to the degree of almost $110,000 just himself by buying loads of ships. So there's going to be a video about that out later today. And hopefully that will be an entertaining and interesting chat. It's been Zin that chatted to him. He's a good chap. He's has a pretty unique perspective on Star Citizen as a project, from looking at it from management and running his own company, or at least running like a director effectively on a lot of stuff, but also having a sort of software engineering background as well, or at least some bits and bobs. So he analyzes it in a bit different way, and he's not like a super white knight of the project either. He just seems to be pretty yeah, he has a very unique view. It was interesting to talk to him. So I suppose I want to update some people about some stuff that's going on in my life. I'm pretty shattered today, pretty tired. Been a rough couple of weeks. My dad is it's back. People don't know, my dad's sort of semi-recovering from brain and lung cancer. He's had some very miraculous treatments for it, some targeted therapy, which seems to have turned something that was pretty awful in our lives into something, well, now we've got quite a bit of hope, and he seems to be doing pretty well. However, over the last couple of weeks, he's taken a bit of a turn for the worse. He's had his back, so he's been in bed most of the time, and he's been very tired, and he's had to go in and out of hospital. So yesterday, sort of had to rush him into hospital for tests and stuff. So that sort of took all out of me, just because I got anxious about it. I mean, it's not really about me at all at that situation. I just want to be there for my family and stuff, but I was sort of like, ugh. But he's back home now, and he's, you know, tired, but he's not sort of like he's not on death's door or anything, so it's all good. Hopefully it's going to be nothing too bad. Hopefully it'll just be sort of like, yeah, bad back. Do some make sure he walks around, because, you know, if you're he's got loads of problems at the moment. Actually, he's got a problem with his tooth, which needs surgery. We had to go private for that, which that still hasn't been done. So he's got a migraine and a toothache and a bad back, and his legs hurt because he hasn't been walking on them. So when he does walk on them, they really hurt. He's not in best condition, but I adore my father, although maybe I wouldn't tell him that directly. Sort of not an emotional being, my father. Unlike me, I am an emotional being, but I love my dad. He's awesome, and yeah. So I'm a bit zonked out, so you have to bear with me. A bit of a sort of wreck today, so looking forward to 3.14 though, quite genuinely. I tell you what, another reason I'm sort of partly upset as well, or at least shaken. My crypto holdings, which weren't much. Well, I had a bit of Ethereum as well. I've halved, so like in a couple of days, there's boop, a couple of crashes and stuff. I was like, it's cool. I still made money, but then my value in crypto just halved. I only had we had like $20,000 worth of Ethereum sort of squirreled away for a portion of my savings. So that's not looking great at the moment, but I'm going to hold it long term anyway. So haven't lost any money because I'm not going to take it out. Is the idea. But some of the other coins that I had, they just halved in a couple of days. I'm sort of a bit upset, so I lost maybe a couple of grand on that in a couple of days. Not the best, a bit upsetting. But I'm going to be probably buying some more crypto. Don't take financial advice from me. So I feel sorry for you if you put money into crypto in the short term and you've gone, but I'm going to be holding my assets in there now, because no point in taking them out now, and probably buying some more. But don't take financial advice from me. I'm an idiot. I think people have been telling other people to buy in the dip, crypto-wise, for several weeks now, and people are like, yeah, I bought in the dip. Nah, is it a dip when it then quadruple dips? So crypto erratic. I do think it's going to be the future though, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe I'll just be a poor idiot. How you doing, homie? How's it? Hope you're all doing well and feeling good. Yeah, so I'm pretty tired. I've been not for. I need to get a nap probably after stream. I think me and Zin later on today, after we get the aforementioned video out, are probably going to be playing Green Hell, Spirits of the Amazonia Part 2. We love the Green Hell. Green Hell co-op has been fantastic. And the second part of that comes out later today, so that is pretty exciting. Zin had another driving lesson today, and she was trying to book her driving test, which she's finding very difficult, because no one seems to be allowing for the booking of tests, or they're booked like 6 months in advance or something, which is obviously pretty rough. Talking to a whale, can you dress up as someone from Star Trek from the old 80s and 90s movies? Wait, you want me to... Bless you, Yorkin, and I know that any of the faith that read this will join me in common accord. I appreciate the love. So, stuff I do want to talk about today, which is, more relevant to the channel. Got 3.14. The Inside Star Citizen this week's going to be focused on it. I think Star Citizen Live's going to be focused on it. It's the last Inside Star Citizen for 3 weeks. And they typically do that just before they release a patch to First Wave PTU. Now, how's the Evocati going? Well, we can't really discuss that. When the Evocati patch is in a state to be moved over to First Wave PTU, so that it's not NDA'd anymore, that build's not NDA'd anymore, they will. But it is not there yet. So sort of bear that in mind. We are not there yet. And we could see Wave 1 PTU as early as this weekend if all the stars align. But I'm still thinking that for a live build for 3.14, it is very likely now to be middle of June. Middle of June? Middle of July. Middle of July. How do you think a player's organisation will be affected by the good or bad reputation of one of its members? I mean, if a player who follows UE laws will be affected by sharing an organisation with a player who does not follow UE laws. So I think it will probably fraction. So you'll have probably your organisation rep and your own rep, two separate things, and your org rep will probably be affected by any missions or any things that the organisation members do while they're in the organisation fractionally. Yeah? That makes sense the most? What does an organisation rep actually mean, though? Because you're going to have your own personal rep as well, yeah? What does your organisation rep actually mean? Well, maybe your organisation doesn't actually need a rep. And maybe your organisation rep, maybe it could affect your rep directly. Like, if you've got a really bad organisation rep or a really good rep with a faction, it will negatively affect your rep with that faction when you do missions for them. Could it just be that you have organisations so that people can declare war on your org, so that effectively they're declaring war on all your members? I do think a lot of stuff in Star Citizen is going to pan out in a similar way to EVE, because EVE did a lot of good. It was very sensible in a lot of its implementation. And sort of org wars and that sort of stuff, and limited org size, that makes sense, right? We'll have to wait and see to see exactly what happens with CIG. What do you think will happen to Port Olisar? So some people have said it's going to get exploded as part of an event or whatever. It's definitely going to be replaced at some point. Luke Presley, and we can actually bring this up on screen. Here we go. Hi. Basically, someone complaining about station camping and at Port Olisar, and that sort of like being rough and a mixture of griefy and overly PvP. But it's more griefy what's happening at Port Olisar for the most part. Luke Presley comes in and says that the plan is to replace all landing pads with hangars and entirely replace Port Olisar. So you won't be able to be destroyed on your landing pad so easily because you'll be in a hangar, not a landing pad, in the future. Now, I do see a place for landing pads, so I'll have to wait and see exactly what happens to that. I understand you have a little choice, but to use Port Olisar at the moment, if you want to spawn at Crusader until then, hopefully Orison will provide another viable option. Yeah, it's a safer area. Missile turrets are also being prototyped. So, more's coming with that stuff, and rightly so. Will your org have org-branded gear that can look fun? So expect the ability to be able to have org customized paint schemes that then your org can buy. That's what I would expect. I would expect you to be able to go, look, let's go to Cousin Crow's. Cousin Crow's is going to be a customization shop, yeah, for aftermarket customization of ships. I expect you can go there, set up a paint scheme, work it out, and either just share exactly how you've done that with another org member, or hopefully literally just go, bam, this color scheme. Boom, done on your ship. Do I think we'll see custom org decals for things? Maybe. That might be a bit too beyond the sort of style of MMO that Star Citizen wants to be. I mean, it does want that kind of customization. If it is possible, I suspect it will be in there. After watching a bunch of videos about games that on release are nowhere near the level promised in trailers, some having dev time as long as Star Citizen has, I'm feeling very glad that CIG are taking extra time to do it right. Yes. Yeah, I mean, is it an excuse for being as slow as they are? Probably not, but it's more understandable for sure. I mean, Star Citizen's development cycle is very long, has been, especially in the first few years, been very inefficient. It is sped up a lot now, for the most part, and they've got a lot more developed in the way they do things. I want my Redeemer in 3.15 and hopefully not a 3.15.x patch. Yeah, I see what you mean. Everyone's liking the 3.14 pie patch. I love people love my beautiful baldness. I appreciate the love, such as it is. What else have we got here? Yeah, I think a bear's probably more deadly than a tiger. That's true. Is 3.14 an improvement to stability? We don't know until it's in our hands. It should be. In theory, every patch should be more stable than the last, every major patch. BoredGamer are Star Citizen king of clickbaits. Well, everyone knows it. I'm not that clickbaity. We were just... That title, 3.14 PTU Wave 1 soon, is more reflective on the fact that the last Inside Star Citizen is coming out this week, or 3 weeks, which is what they do just before they release a patch to wider PTU. Same with the Star Citizen Live, and it looks like that's what they're trying to push for, although I do think it's more likely to be 3.14 First Wave PTU next week now, but it does depend on how that Evocati patch goes. It's not a huge, big ticket patch beyond, I mean, that's what sort of things can we expect? Lots of testing, almost certainly, in the PTU will be going towards Orison, Crusader, and performance for that. That's typically what we would expect from patches, and probably what a large focus of the PTU will be. Will individuals be able to use branding, or is it for orgs only? We don't know. We don't know to what extent you'll be able to customize the externals for your ships with decals or that sort of stuff. So, obviously, you'll be able to take a ship to Cousin Crows or another aftermarket customization shop, and you'll be able to paint your ship and potentially change the name and things like that. Might be some preset decals you can use. Might be some different sort of techniques and sort of designs that you can use, templates for where you have different colors and things like that. I do not expect any form of free-form painting, but some basic templates, some basic colors, and you might be able to do quite a bit with just that. Now, will you be able to have those custom decals? We don't know. We don't know. They've talked about them. They've said they wanted to do them previously. Anyway, to do with clickbait, I'm more like the prince of clickbait, maybe even like a duke. There's people significantly better at clickbait than me in the Star Citizen community. Do you think the capacity gameplay is going to change the way we fight and fly in general? No. Well, yes, in combat. No, in general. I think it will be largely the same general flight. But combat is going to be severely changed by the missile gameplay, missile operate modes, missile changes, and capacity gameplay, and the updates to power. Taurus Wen, if you only had two sub $200 ships, which would you choose for diverse gameplay? Taurus and Prospector give you probably the most diverse. Yeah? Paul Olisar should go the way of Event Horizon. We're getting sued by Games Workshop. What? Do you think the Ninetales lockdown will lock down Port Olisar, then do enough damage to destroy enough of it? Could Port Olisar be destroyed at the end of the Ninetales lockdown? I mean, it's a possibility. And then either the station's destroyed or replaced and upgraded. I see what you mean now, Ashman. That's as good as theory as any, eh? Have you already found out the details of the Starfarer? So I messaged CIG about this already. I haven't got a response yet. So Starfarer has been expanded in sort of like its scope. So it now sort of does a mixture of things. They've talked about refueling, refining, and hauling. So you'll be able to like place reactors on it for refining. You'll be able to set up its tanks for what it's got in it, and you'll be able to use its little boom arm, which will use the same sort of docking that a Connie P-52 sort of dock uses, a sort of like hard dock for transferring fuel. And I'm assuming it will still be a gas miner as well. But we're a bit more confused on that at the moment. It's because they didn't really mention it last time, but it should still fulfill that role as far as I'm aware. Desync, too much desync. Yes, so desync is and has been a major problem with Star Citizen for quite a long time, admittedly. And I think that a lot of people are fed up with it, but it's might get a little bit better. It might be able to be something they can sort of like tweak and optimize in the short term. But really, we're waiting for iCache to fully come in with persistent streaming and more majorly server meshing, which is sort of all being worked on as a single feature at the moment. Does CIG even understand what is wrong with cargo trade, and will they fix it in 3.14? So, they've talked about things like Jumptown 2. They have talked about updates to cargo potentially in 3.14. I think they want to do the cargo alerts and a 9 Tails lockdown, because 9 Tails lockdown is part of 3.14, having trade opportunities potentially in those areas as well. I want to see in the short term cargo alerts used to have changing prices in the game, and I want to be able to buy and sell cargo easily when I'm at those locations. I don't mind if time's associated with that. I don't mind if costs are associated with that, but I don't have to wait to press a button every few minutes or whatever, and I don't want that stuff to be broken. Obviously, the risk of 30Ks as well, losing my ship and my cargo, is pretty upsetting too. Some are saying 3.16 is actually going to become a 4.0, saying there was some internal info shown in Star Citizen video. What are your thoughts? So, basically, Cloud Imperium said, the latest on that was, when we have server meshing and pyro, that patch will be called 4.0. That's my thoughts on that, Summer Yeti. I don't think that patch will be ready for the end of this year. Totally unrelated. Recently in my org, we discussed ship availability and the fact that sometimes folks buy ships not thinking about future costs. This might flood the grey market. Thoughts? I mean, yeah, there's going to be costs associated with maintaining some of these ships. So, could that flood the grey market? Maybe. What's preventing them from implementing proper ship armor? So, they are building a physical damage system and physicalized components to make use of appropriate ship armor. It's just not ready yet. Is the Atslan Bounty Hunter armor made for use in space? So I assumed, and I've forgotten to check this, I assumed that the helmet for that Bounty Hunter sort of roguish armor, I assume that is fully usable in space. I hope. What actor would you like to see included in the future of Squadron 42? Brian Blessed. He'd be a fantastic Xi'an. Let's assume the Xi'an are all like Brian Blessed. With the Taurus coming in 3.14, hopefully. Yeah, indeed. It has been confirmed for it. Do you think we will see any changes to the pre-existing constellations too? So this is interesting, isn't it? So we've been previously told that the constellation's not getting a secret rework or anything like that. Obviously, the Taurus is coming out. Now, the Taurus looks like it's had quite a bit of like updating for the constellation. And if it looks much better than the normal Connie or the other Connies are going to need updating as well. I mean, they were going to get like materials updates and stuff like that anyway. And they previously also talked about potentially revising some of the struts in the cockpits of the Connie. So maybe. That's the problem. We don't know for sure. Probably some little updates. Could it be a huge amount? Probably not a huge amount. I mean, it's possible they've reworked all of them in the same time they've done the Taurus. And they've just gone, But we'll have to wait and see. When do I think 3.14 will go live? Middle of July. Middle of July. With some of the exploration mechanics being verbalized by CIG, are you looking forward to... What are you looking forward to doing? I enjoy the hull pressure, resilient step towards harsh environments play. Yeah, so having the sort of like pressure damage your ship in gas clouds and gas giants and environmental effects will make ships like the Terrapin more effective and useful. It also makes exploration ships potentially more useful in certain situations as well. So there's too much that I'm looking forward to with Star Citizen's mechanics and stuff, but it's mainly economy-based stuff. The dynamic economy, getting that sorted, that's probably the most exciting thing to me. And all of it coming together. I mean, I'm really looking forward to dynamic events. They are some of the most exciting things to me as well. Ninetales Lockdown, good reason to play in the short term. Do you think the Constellation Taurus is one of the best soloable multi-role ships? Yeah, I think something smaller is probably more suitable as a solo multi-rollable ship. So something like a Cutlass, maybe. I do think that Constellation Taurus is a very cheap, effective solo, more likely small crew ship. But although you'll be able to run it with NPC crew and you'll be able to run it with... I'm not sure why I've got the date of Invictus there, but I do. And you might be able to run it with AI blades as well. So potentially soloable. Any news on the Polaris release? Nope. No new news on the Polaris. Jumptown 2 is coming, so they better fix trade. Well, we don't know exactly what Jumptown 2 will be, but I'm looking forward to it. I think Star Citizen Leaks had previously said it could be that they're working on some new locations like the Idris that we saw, the Idris location, the direct crashed Idris location, something like that could be Jumptown 2, and then they said, oh, it might not be this, but that's the sort of thing you could see locations like that used, and you could see dynamic locations that keep on changing with price alerts used more appropriate for outposts. Best guess as to when server meshing might be in. First stage server meshing, I'm very optimistically hoping for middle of next year. The game being finally an MMO, it depends how you exactly define that. That's going to be a more personal thing, other than at release. So the bounty hunting armor apparently can be used appropriately in 3.14. Do we have any updates on mech suits? No, so we don't have any new updates on the Titan armor. Les kisses du money, mon petit pois. I see, Jericho Pliskin, that you speak the best French. Thank you very much. I appreciate the money. Star. Stack Magique. Endeavour when? I actually think it's going to be one of the last ships they do, because it's science gameplay, very complex, very modular, lots going on with the Endeavour, very big. $600i or Aquila? I already own a Carrack, just after options. I don't think either of those ships are going to give you much in the way of options over the Carrack. Any new Banner Merchantman news since the start of Alien Week? I mean, other than the price update. No news on the Banner Merchant beyond that. Do you think they should be wasting their time on implementing more defenses when future mechanics should stop the issues at the landing pad, like better AI and death of the spaceman, etc.? So yes, so Star Citizen has got a very odd implementation with it being with the way it does some of its mechanics, because it is maintaining a live game universe playable alpha. So it is a live playable alpha. At the same time, they are developing it. So because of that, and because of the way they market it, they have to be thinking about some of these things in the short term that will be fixed in the long term anyway. So there is a bit of development distance there. Brewbeard, thank you very much for the whale money. I appreciate it. Squadron 42 was slated for beta end of last year. No, it wasn't. Not really. So on the roadmap for internal beta, yes. So yeah, I suppose. But for internal beta, do you expect the Persistent Universe to go live close to the release of Squadron 42 Chapter 2? So they basically said that the second and third Squadron 42 games will be 2 years apart from each other. Guesstimately, from when they released the first part. So I think we'll see Squadron 42 potentially released next year. I have said that since 2016. And sort of Star Citizen 2025 release for the actual released product. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. With poor frame rates on introducing Crusader, could we see Vulkan integration to offset bad frame rates? Should Crusader be postponed until frame rate issues are resolved with new players? We'll have to see exactly what it's like in the PTU. I would expect that's the sort of problems they will be having, as they typically have those with new landing zones, and that will be a focus of the PTU test, would be my expectation. But we'll have to wait. I can't speak about the specifics of the current Evocati or Evocati builds, unfortunately, to confirm or deny exactly what's going on. However, if, for example, if the landing zone was causing major crashes and they couldn't get it in, or it was literally unplayable in that area, then I think they should delay the patch or push Crusader off the patch. However, I'm expecting any problems like that to be looked at and resolved in PTU, and the PTU phase will be as long as it needs to be for any major issues, typically, or at least that's my expectation. Vulkan integration and the Gentile renderer stuff, I think, super important. I think it's one of the most important things to get into the game as soon as possible. I know they're working on it. We could see it with 3.15 maybe, question mark. With Crusader in Stanton should be finished, right? So there's still a load more to do in Stanton. It will constantly get updated with new content, full stop, with all the stuff that they build into getting... Thank you very much for the raid, by the way. Anna! Oh, thank you very much for the raid! I didn't realise it was you. Lovely corgi bums. What a beautiful emote you have. Hope you had a good stream, Anna. I hope you're doing well. I hope your computer's doing you well as well. Anna, all my crypto collapsed. All my crypto money's now, I should say, worthless. About half the amount in 2 days. It's made me sad. You got financially sad. But what was I talking about? I distracted myself. Thank you very much for the raid. Very much appreciated. You're a star. People should go check out Anna's channel that has raided me, because she is the voice for the hologram at the Microtech New Babbage. And she's also the voice of Rowena Dooley, who was the agent in charge of Xenothreat. And she may have her voice used more in the future. Petek, thank you very much for the bits. I appreciate the bits as well. You star, thank you. If you'd like to ask a question during the stream, question in brackets. I love that computer. There's a lot of cute emotes. I don't really do emote spam on my channel, or emotes really much at all. Maybe I should incentivize it. It's a beautiful thing. Seeing a lot of Pikachu's, corgi butts, and whatever else some of these other things are. Try and work out what some of these some of the emotes are. I don't know what they are. But thank you very much. Very much appreciated. But there's still other things to finish off in the Stanton system beyond Crusader. So when Crusader's done, Stanton's not finished. They're still building general points of interest. There's still going to be a load of stuff with pirates and AI and NPCs and missions and all that sort of stuff to build out. But actual physical locations, I suppose, is what you're talking about. Well, there's going to be more. They're building out more outpost types, and more facilities, more structures in general, derelicts and points of interest like that. Obviously, you saw the thing that Turbulent were working on, that crashed Idris site reused. Expect lots of things like that. The Aaron Halo and those giant gates, things like that. So, there's still more to do in Stanton, and there will be until like the game is released. Almost, they'll keep on increasing the amount of content and asset pool and all that sort of stuff. And we learned that recently they wanted to do probe gameplay with you sending out probes in certain ships, and then you can triangulate positions and find points of interest or things that you can then travel to, quantum travel to. Well, that content, which I would deem largely exploration based, but I mean it does touch on loads of other things, that needs to constantly expand and get loads and loads and loads and loads of more bits for it. Rip your finances, that's why crypto starts with cry. Thanks. Appreciate it. Do you actually play Star Citizen anymore? I was playing it the other day. Yes? Play Star Citizen a reasonable amount. At the moment, sort of waiting for 3.14 to go to first wave PTU. And Zin should be running some BoredGamer events. They used a load of my footage in the last Inside Star Citizen, didn't they? We had some quality Xenothreat footage. Is there a date for 3.14? I'm expecting the live build for 3.14, middle of July at the moment. And we could have first wave PTU as early as the end of this week, but I'm thinking much more likely now next week. But it does depend on how the Evocati build goes. With tech such as ray tracing, which requires a lot of extra work, do you think they could graphically fall behind compared to other games by its release? They don't need to get ray tracing in the game, and they can use lots of other systems. They can use global illumination and stuff like that anyway. And I think their Gen 12 renderer is going to be in a relatively good state, making the game look pretty good looking for its sort of size and scale for its release. Is it a concern that by the time it releases it's going to look dated? I suppose it is a concern. But do I think it looks dated now? No. Do I think they can make it a lot prettier before release? Yes. Would I forgive the game not looking cutting edge great, like the perfect mwah, when it's released? Yeah, I would, as long as the gameplay's there. Because it would still look great. Crash Javelin update in 3.14? Don't know. Expect it's a bit further out. Fix desync when? I'm hoping a little bit of desync improvement in 3.14. But server meshing and some of the wider streaming persistent tech, that's what they need to fully fix desync. Where do I learn how to cook, please? What? Google? Do you need to learn how to cook, or do you just follow recipes? Since Banner Merchantman is only purchasable with cash and earned through Banu Rep, what would CIG do to prevent players from piloting another's? Something they stated they would do. Sorry? I'm a bit confused. So, want to buy a Banu Merchantman in game? Well, obviously they're not released yet, but when they are released in game, you'll probably be able to buy it from other players in game with in-game money. Probably be able to buy it from certain brokers for pretty expensive, and you might be able to have access to them more easily if you have got good reputation with the Banu. But you'll be able to fly any other people's. If someone sells you a Banu ship, you'll be able to fly it. Pirate them probably as well. Is D&D one of the board games you play? I play D&D on Thursdays. We play Descent to Avernus. And I'm planning to finish that campaign before I play Baldur's Gates, the new one, because it's set directly after that campaign. I know you're Evocati, but what will be the first thing you'll do once you hit Crusader as an atmosphere? Go to Orison and fly around and see how deep you can get, for example? No, so stuff that I'll be doing once we can get wider PTU, as I would like to fly around Orison and do a tour of the zone. So fly around it, have a look at it, see what we can do there, walk around, and then maybe end it off by seeing what sort of depth damage we get from inside Crusader. Hey, Board, do you know if the Bandit Merchant is keeping its forward cannons or cannon? We don't know. We don't know for sure. So obviously the Bandit Merchant has changed somewhat in its from its reconcepting. Why is it so hard to matchmake Arena Commander and StarEngine? Because they have not supported them properly for ages. They need a little bit of an update. They are working on that. I'm hoping that we see that in 3.14 or 3.15. And I'm also hoping we see the new Vandal ships, the Scythe and the Glaive, updated models added to Vandal Swarm soon. But yeah, it's sort of unacceptable in my opinion that Arena Commander and StarEngine have sort of like been pushed to the side. At least that's the way it feels to me. And it's not that they don't want it fixed or anything, it's a priorities thing. Like, they will support it, they will update it, they've got a team working on Theatres of War, but also Arena Commander and StarEngine, so... When's the actual game coming? Meaning, when is something really worth logging on coming? 3.14, probably with the new events, that's probably worth playing. So, the Ninetales Lockdown event is certainly worth playing. I suggest that you will probably enjoy, at the moment, being a tourist and logging in and trying out any new events and any new stuff with each major patch. Because it's not a sit down and play, hold your hand, or has expansive gameplay game yet, Star Citizen. It's great in an org. It's great when you're doing loads of sandbox gameplay with your org mates, or you've got something planned, for sure. But you're flying around doing stuff solo, there's only a few dozen hours that you can have in the game before you've done everything. Regarding skill level or level of difficulty, what's your thoughts on how CIG is going to take this for different career choices? Example, mining. You're going to need the right equipment and know the area and know how to do stuff. And then the mini games might not be that super hard once you know how to do them, but doing them quickly and on the fly and efficiently as possible, that's maybe why they do them. Because you might not be able to do them if you don't do them super efficiently, but they'll cost you time and therefore money. And might have like other knock-on effects, like if you do something poorly when you're mining, you might create a lot more IR and EM signature, which means you might get detected more readily by pirates. They shouldn't hard lock certain gameplay loops, but they should certainly have big benefits to the players that can do them well. Do you have fun in Jumptown 1? Yes, it's one of the best experiences I've had in Star Citizen. Are you planning Jumptown 2 videos? I mean, not planning that far ahead, because we don't know exactly what Jumptown 2 is going to be. Are you going to up your PvP skills? Yes, me and Zin are going to be doing some PvP training. We're going to be doing some Arena Combat, Arena Commander training. And we're going to be getting some other people on the channel that are PvPers. And people like Moist Needle and stuff like that as well, because I get on pretty well with him. Since no one ever seems to release on time, shouldn't Inside Star Citizen Live go on a break at the same time the patch release, instead of when the patch should release? I see what you're saying. It's because they don't know exactly what they want to show, I suppose, until they've had the break for the next sort of segment of patches. So, obviously, the next sort of stuff they're going to be showing is 3.15 stuff in Inside Star Citizen, and they need to get some recordings of that, and they need to plan that out. So that's part of the reason they have that break. So, also, I think it's very close to being first wave PTU. I mean, very close being end of this week, end of next week, more likely end of next week. After 8 years, still crap netcode. Well, I would say still unfinished netcode. I mean, they've got their bodged sort of netcode they're still using. They've updated it a couple of times admittedly, but it's not server meshing and it's not the end game netcode. Any news on Theatres of War? I'm expecting some Theatres of War testing as part of the 3.14 cycle. It's the original Jump Town, not in game anymore. The gameplay associated with it certainly isn't. There are outposts in a similar vein and everything. What's your personal guess on how many Total War systems, how many Total Star systems, Total War systems? Total Star systems will be in the PU in the end? So they have plans for 120. That could take several years. On a live release product, I'm expecting a couple of dozen, maybe 20-ish for the actual release would be my expectation, and then they'll keep on adding systems every just constantly. Why do we still believe in Star Citizen, since we know it's not going to be playable to the way he wants in a lifetime? I think that's deeply incorrect. I do think that Star Citizen is going to be genuinely a great game at some point. I do think some gameplay loops are going to be better or worse than others. Also, I do think that everyone has a different view on what these gameplay loops are going to be like, which is that is a danger. I think it'd be fair to say that there are worries about how good Star Citizen will be and the length of time it's going to take to get the game to a largely playable state. I think that's fair. We can have those conversations. But I genuinely do believe in the project, and I will criticize it and create content on it as such. But I'm obviously more of a news channel than anything else, and I do, as people should be aware if they watch my stuff, I do criticize the project a reasonable amount, but not in the same way that others do, because I do believe in it. That's why my biases are. Do we have a time frame for release? We can't really speculate on how many Star Citizen systems we'll have on release. Also, we need to see how much more locations we will get with the new partner studio. Yeah, so the Ted-headed studio, they're obviously focusing on gameplay area, star systems, the star map, things like that. Chris is always watching. The only way I am not in Star Citizen at the moment is the unplayability, desync, lags, and bugs. That seems very fair. There is at least a reasonable amount of desync, and there is lots of prediction and lag and problems like that. And there are certainly a lot of bugs. I still think even with that, it's worth jumping in every major patch for a few hours just to see what's new. And also, if you're with the right org and the right group of people, you can have hundreds, not thousands of hours for fun in the game now. And that's a lot of people I was talking to, especially when I was talking to JP. He was like, look, I love playing the game. I love playing the game solo. I love playing the game with my mates. We just chill, we mess around, we do a load of stuff. It scratches that itch for me. And I was like, even as the game is now, yeah. In fact, he said especially as the game is now, because he really enjoys the bug finding. He really enjoys the, why is it doing that sort of thing? He likes the project as it evolves, while also playing it. So obviously that's not for everyone. A lot of people just want a polished, playable game. So it takes all sorts. It's a lot of fun how it works. Really enjoyed mining. Yeah, mining's the most polished gameplay loop they have. But yeah, the game very much alpha, and there is a bit of conflict there when it's playable alpha and CIG market it as a sort of like more polished product than it is, because it's not polished. We know it's not polished. They may have a diamond. That diamond is encased with a load of muck, and you're not going to be able to get to that diamond. Taking that diamond from a mine, if you try and take it anywhere, they know where you are. They know you've taken it from that mine, and they'll come and get you. So was that the... That might have been Blood Diamond in the film. Sorry. Talking about Star Citizen. What do we got? What do we got? Would you like to ask a question or the stream question in brackets? Give it to me easy. I love you, J-Boy, by the way. You are a star and a legend. Thank you very much for doing modding on the channel without even me asking you. He just turns up, J-Bird, and he does a fantastic job at modding. You are a legend and a scholar and a gent and all those other things. Oh, I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to. My mate Mike's birthday on the weekend. We're doing a barbecue around his house, and the lockdown is not fully gone, so we're having to do it in his garden, and I'll still be able to see people. I haven't seen a group of people, all of these people that are coming, for a year and a half. I need to relax. I've not had a break, like, during lockdown, really. Like, I haven't been able to see my mates properly. I've not been able to see people like Zin and DC and my genuine best mates. And I've sort of, like, been in the house, worried about my family and my dad and stuff. It's just been rough. Sorry, I went a bit off the tangent there. So I've, like, going, oh, woe is me with my first world problems. I've got it pretty good. But this week and last week sort of wiped me out. And my crypto's been wiped out as well. I'm so complaining today. One of the things I am happy about, though, is I do have a 3080 now. I was sorted out by one of my friends of the channel, and someone I wish to be better friends with. That's more a sexy thing. He has really helped me inside out by sorting us out with 3080s. We had to buy them, but actually being able to get them. Do you expect that we will be able to dumbfire missiles? Yes, I expect there will be rockets, and I expect there will be the ability to dumbfire missiles in the future. Thank you for introducing Anna to us. It's sort of Cobro's sort of popularized Anna more than I did, or at least got me to then popularize her as well. She is a awesome dudette. Think of anything, she popularized herself. I just like the fact she's a game nerd in the best possible way. I lost where I was in my questions list. How's Zen? So, do you mean Zin? My editor. She's doing well. She had a driving lesson earlier today. Went really well. She's trying to book her driving test. She's been pretty good. I've got a mate called Zen as well, who is a legend, and I love him. He's doing well as well. I played some Star Citizen. You might have seen some videos I played with him long ago on the channel, and he will be on the channel more in the future. Mercury Star Runner over Carrack. Depends what you want to do. If you want to do exploration on the Carrack, if you want to do other multi-role stuff, Mercury Star Runner. And especially data running Mercury Star Runner. Long-time lurker here. Only wanted to leave a couple of words here. Most enjoyable Star Citizen streamer. Oh, I appreciate that. I don't believe that's true. But maybe I am to you. I'm not going to dismiss your lovely praise of me. However, thank you. Thank you. After Elite Dangerous's recent train wreck update, Star Citizen Slowburn is looking more reasonable. Yeah, I know, right? Star Citizen does run on AWS, yes. Amazon Web Services. For upcoming ship this year. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Hull C, and I think we're going to start to see NPC cargo ships flying around. Well, Hull C's flying around as well, so. That's gonna, if they have cargo in a good state when the Hull C comes in, that's going to be cool. Lot, not sure if this has changed or if they intend to have some authorization, like a login, to prevent this. COG previously mentioned wanting to restrict Banner Merchant ownership and prevent people from rebuilding Banner Merchant wrecks. I don't have that in my notes. I mean, you might not be able to rebuild wrecks unless you have all the parts or whatever. Because you need the correct manufacturing facilities and that sort of stuff. But, I mean, will we be crafting ships ourselves? Maybe. I sort of hope that we can. It makes sense that if we can craft our own ships, maybe we can't craft some of the more exotic alien ones. Haven't seen anything on Progress Tracker, but have they mentioned anything recently about having component stats in game instead of using Urkel? So I'm expecting to see stats on the items in game at some point, but they haven't mentioned anything recently. Any updates on the Taurus? It's coming 3.14. Got more cargo space than a normal constellation. We've seen some sneaky little inside shots of it in some of the newsletters. Do you think the banner mention will be taken off the roadmap again and pushed back since they didn't talk about it during any week? No, I just think they're not ready to show bits off of it. It's being worked on now. Do you think the development of other systems will be much quicker once they've finished Hurston? Do you mean Stanton system? So Hurston's a planet in the Stanton system. Yes, but the pipeline for gameplay area and star systems is significantly better than it was by many magnitudes, and they have a gameplay-focused studio working on it now. So their tools are in a very good place to actually start building out star systems, and they're building out Nyx and Pyro system now. The more they do for Stan system and those systems, the more and quicker it is to make all other systems. So, if you could use a magic wand and pick one gameplay loop to be complete right now, and only one, what would you pick and why? I mean, I think base building. Like, even though I don't think it's the most important, it's got to be one of the big gameplay loops, hasn't it? Like, on salvage fully complete, or I want some sort of economy or industrial thing. But base building, I think, and a magic wand. And why has my magic wand got limitations? Release date. With refining being very hands-on, who would be able to participate in it besides people with no life, no job, they can play 24/7? What? What? You don't have to refine 24/7. You'd have to do all the jobs 24/7. People are going to have an advantage in Star Citizen if they have more time to devote to it. That's just the same as any MMO, though, right? You'll be able to make more money if you do your refining or mining or any of the gameplay loops longer. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to bio real quick. Yeah, so concern about my father at the moment is just he's very, very tired at the moment. Sort of understandably, though, so we'll keep an eye on him. We'll look after him. If there's any disruption to the channel, it will be because I'm rushing into hospital, or, you know, I will prioritise my family over my work, because I can. I think that's the joy of that. I can take a couple of days off if I need to. But, one of the other things is I love creating Star Citizen content, and doing research, doing work, playing games, playing Star Citizen, even these streams, they help me mellow out and chill out a load. Like it helps me get some of my thoughts in order sometimes. But I like connecting with people, I like talking to people, I like sharing my problems with people as well. I go, yeah, you know, now you can deal with this as well. And I appreciate all the love. Thank you. It's I think we're very lucky to be in the position we're in the first place, where he's been very responsive to all the treatments and stuff. So, will you be able to go into unmonitored space and turn off your transponder? I think you'll be able to turn off later your systems and stuff, so maybe. I suppose you would be able to turn off your transponder as part of that, maybe. In the Squadron 42 vertical slice, we saw NPCs using fake transponders. Rise the Ryland, so fucking cool. It's a cool alien ship. I really like the look of it. Interested to see how it pans out in game. Do you think version 1 of server meshing and iCache will be fully implemented before 2023? Yes. First stage server meshing, I'm hoping, middle of next year. What do you think of Star Citizen evolving from a man with his ship to a man and a fleet and his fleet? It's a weird thing. I do see it going the way of Eve for a lot of it. So I'm expecting to have multiple ships on different planets and different systems for different purposes, and then move to those planets and stuff, and then use those ships in those areas. Considering CIG stated only large ships will be able to use jump gates between star systems. What? Should CIG implement a sort of jump ship? No. Any ship with a jump drive can. And the small, tiny ships don't necessarily have a jump drive. Like the snubs. Do you think we'll see the Redeemer earlier than the roadmap says? I mean, you might see it in, like, bits and reveals and stuff, but not in game. They're culling ship exteriors and interiors in this patch, correct? Did they move that out? Let me have a look. Either this patch or next patch. Cortec. It's 3.15, next patch. Q3 patch. Would it be a good idea to wait for the pie patch before buying the Taurus? It's possible it might go up a little tiny bit of money when it gets released. Just take that as you want it. If you've got store credit to use, buy it now would be my suggestion. If you don't, then it's up to you. I don't think anyone needs a fleet in Star Citizen, though. I mean, you can get around with just like a single multi-role ship. And so go from your starter ship, it's like whatever, to an Avenger Titan, and then you can probably get away with using a Cutlass or something as a solid multi-role ship. Maybe try and move on to the Mercury Star Runner eventually. As I said earlier, I do expect the ability to be able to dumbfire missiles in the future. At least some missiles. I'm expecting to see rockets come back into the game properly as well. Do you think the Banu Merchantman will grow, shrink, or stay? I think the Banu Merchantman will grow from the last time we've seen it, because that's basically what Cloud Imperium said. Has there been any word about being able to use or move all items currently in our ships or shown in hubs? Like the melon in the fridge, or... So, most of those objects eventually in the future should be movable and grabbable. They sort of were planning to do that already, but they sort of started to phase that stuff out because it was causing too many problems with too many sort of assets and items and entities. Because that's one of the reasons they need iCache. This isn't hiding, he's just having a little peek. What are some of your favourite systems and planets and star systems in the universe and why? Thanks very much, Jack. BiggieSandyWormy.com. Is that... So Jag is in love, with the sandworm mechanics. But we're not going to get sandworms, probably, Jag, until we have the Lear system, which is going to be quite a way off. Maybe you'll see them in Theatres of War. What are some of my favourite systems and planets and star systems? I mean, I think I'm most looking forward to Sol and Terra. Just because Sol is our star system, and Terra is sort of super advanced, interesting alien, well, not alien, interesting sort of high-tech human built when they were high-tech. It's an interesting sort of one. Quick transponder, I'd expect it to be a server blade option. Yeah, something like that makes sense, right? It would generally, or E-Warfare. But more likely an air blade. I think so too. It would be really cool if they could figure out the legal to be able to play your music through the game. Okay. Yeah. It would be cool if they could do that, maybe. When will we get pets? Can my doggo follow me around? We don't know. We don't know to what level pets will be in game. They said pets were a stretch goal. Could it just be pets in terrariums and sort of like cages? Could it be pets that just are cosmetic that effectively are attached to you? Could you have little pets that follow you around? Maybe. How do they deal with that if the pet dies? What do you think the strength of the Rylan will be? What scenario will it be best suited for as opposed to hull series, for example? If you want to constantly fly down to planets and quickly load and unload smaller size cargoes. So the thing with the Rylan is that it can be fully laden and still land pretty much anywhere. It's got good defenses as well. All the talks about implementing cloning, how do you think this will affect Death of a Spaceman concept and medical gameplay in general? It shouldn't affect Death of a Spaceman much at all. It's cloning was just this is how we get the Death of a Spaceman mechanics we want. So they just justify it with cloning. So your DNA gets more unstable the more times you die. But you can have medical insurance. They've been talking about medical insurance recently. When do you think we will see the Polaris? And how large will it become? Next year, maybe, Polaris, if you're lucky. A little bit larger than it was during concept, but I wouldn't expect it much larger. For medical gameplay, are we expecting any consumable items or items not stored in player's inventory? We're certainly expecting more consumable items, yes. Any items not stored in player's inventory. So there's going to be various things that you'll have on medical tables, medical tools around those areas. I want a dog. Good for you. When will the shut up and take my money skin be available to use? Don't know. Those original skins, I have not heard anything on them since their original sale. Have you thought about what planet or moon you would like to build a base on? Well, I want to live in the short term on Orison, on Crusader, because I love the look of it. Beyond that, where would I want a base? Wherever it's profitable to have a base. Do you think we might get some options for ships like shipjacker ships, like we've seen in the Squadron 42 video? Yeah, so we've seen some interesting things like shipjacker ships. We've seen scrap ships and sort of ships that have got other parts on or weird bits attached to them. Could we start to see that in the Star Citizen universe? Well, we'll certainly see enemies with those ships. Could we use them as well? Yeah, I don't know. We can steal them off them, so yeah. We've seen a huge influx of elite players into Star Citizen. They've had it with the fronted devs' lives. I'm not sure if... Okay. I think there was problems with the implementation of Odyssey. It wasn't ready yet. They needed to develop it a bit longer. Maybe do it in multiple phases. And I still think that Elite Dangerous, once they fix their stuff and work on the game a bit more, it can be great. The same thing sort of happened with No Man's Sky. I mean, except that there were definitely huge amounts of lies with No Man's Sky's original release. But they sat down and they worked hard on their game, and now their game's genuinely great. No Man's Sky, so... I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. Where do you think Lear fits into the order of systems being delivered? The worm is calling me. I don't know. It's going to be a while off, though, isn't it? Is there any lore videos on the way... what happened to Earth? Yeah, I can ask Sin to do Earth and the Sol system. Yeah. Regarding inventory management in the future, has CIG hinted at an interface in allowing players to move inventory from one stored ship to another? So, in very old art, yes. And more recently, they've obviously talked about the local inventories at stations and hangars and that sort of stuff. So, they've implied it, yes. For example, if I have a Mercury Star and a Freelancer stored at the same station, you should be able to easily just move it between them, yes. You'll be able to put it into the local hangar. Are clones sterile? I see space men and women, but no space kids. So they've specifically chosen to not have space children in the game because that causes problems with the ratings of games and what countries they can be released in, I think. 3.14 Wave 1 PTU. So I'm expecting it between the end of this week and the end of next week. That's the most likely. It does depend on how the Evocati phase goes. We are pretty close to Wave 1 PTU. Will we get fat and slim NPCs? Certainly for mission givers, yes. Could they have different body types for NPCs? Much more likely than players, yes. Will be used for storage in the Carrack's med bay? Yeah, there'll be at least some storage there, or place items. Seems to me CIG relaxed the food mechanic during Invictus. If so, do you think they should continue this practice until things are more stable? I'm okay with them tweaking and balancing stuff to make sure that people don't die randomly, especially during free flies. But I want that mechanic to be more developed. How do you think how big do you think the Endeavour will get? 20% bigger than it currently was planned to be, probably. Do you use the Toby tracker? Yes, I have used it. I'm not currently using it. I have used it. I will be setting it back up again because it is pretty good. You can... my monitor is barely enough size for it. Like, you want a large amount of screen real estate, if possible, for the eye tracker. Because you want to be able to look around. It tracks your eyes better, in my opinion, with a larger monitor. How's the testing of Theaters War coming? Expect more tests for 3.14 cycle. I'm sure this was asked before, but how do you see Evo patches? Is there any substantial progress and improvement? Can't talk about the specifics of the Evocati patches, unfortunately, beyond what Cloud Imperium share. When do you think we will see other biomes like swampland, rainforest, ocean worlds? I mean, they're working on some of that now, like lava areas and things like that for Pyro, some of the stuff for Nyx, wastelands, lots of different types of sort of trees and assets and that sort of stuff. So You'll start to see them more and more in the coming months or quarters. What groups can you get rank ups for? I got one with North Rock. Oh, so there's 3 bounty hunter ones. Quite a lot of them. There's a reasonable amount. I need to make a video on it. I don't actually have them all written in my notes either. Plastic Death. Thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated. Hey, pal. Bar Citizens is a great shout. So skins bought in-game. Can you please summarize how they will work? More like a physical component to be bought each time, or a permanent unlock that is easily applied and swapped. I'm assuming that skins in-game are going to be applied once to your ship. Yeah, like a physical component that you've bought. Yeah? That would be my expectation. It's possible that if you buy a skin, like a skin on the website, then that gives you a permanent unlock for it in-game. But they have not confirmed. So, thanks very much for the donation money. So I can't be more of help than that, because they have not confirmed that at all. I can see it going either way. With salvaging coming and freeform cutting, do you think we'll be able the ability to cut ways into ships in the future? Yes. You'll make our own doors. So it won't be freeform cutting everywhere. It will be on certain locations, certain places. So entry points and certain vents and things. So doors, vents. Any rumours on when they might increase player count with server meshing coming online? No. Not really. I'm expecting server meshing phase 1 maybe middle of next year. Expect it around then. Is it true that the volumetric clouds are only coming to Crusader first? Don't 100% know. I was expecting it to be also used in points of interest areas as well. When do you think we'll see alien races walking around the verse? So they're obviously still working on the alien rigs and that sort of stuff. The Vandal are the most developed of the alien races so far. It's going to be a while before we start to see those sort of NPCs walking around, though. But once they've sort of finished them, they can pretty easily add them to the game because depends where the AI is at that state, and if the behavioural systems are going to be different for different aliens. Do you think they get the option to be another alien race? In the future, after release, maybe. They sort of said that. That was the original thing. Not at release, but potentially after it. Hello, Board. Thanks for all your hard work, as always. What do you think of the rumour that 3.16 might be 4.0? As I said, I'm expecting that sort of stuff to be maybe middle of next year. I don't think that Pyro and that sort of stuff is ready yet. I do think that that's where they're planning to have the 4.0 patch, but I could be wrong. How soon are we likely to see star power changes and refueling? It's a little bit further out. I mean, salvage gameplay potentially is pushing towards getting some more of that gameplay in. It looks like they might be sort of developing, refining further as well for it. They've got some of the components ready for refueling, and they want refueling in at the same time, if possible, or just before Pyro. So you could see it sort of early next year, middle of next year. Would you interview machinima makers and maybe get some previews? I like Starjump, Grim, but there are so many more. Okay, I get, yeah, maybe Sketch Library, that might be a good idea. And I do want to do sort of community spotlight stuff as well anyway, so it's a good shout. What would you consider the line to cross to call an update 4.0? The addition of Pyro and server meshing. That's what Cloud Imperium have identified it as anyway. Just a heads up, I think we are about to jump when it comes to crypto, so cheer up. Cool. I'll hold that against you, Craig, if I lose all my money. No worries. It's all good. It's only money. I know that I can say that, and some people will be like, depend. I'm in a very good position. I make a good living from my various companies that I run. One of them being this, which I appreciate all the support on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. But I also do some stuff on eBay. So I'm doing reasonably well. And it was money that I'm hoping makes money from. I'm hoping and invest it, but it was money that I could afford to lose. So I'm not going to be too like about it. I appreciate the love. They're developing nav mesh for NPCs walking around on the outsides of structures and in outposts and things, yes. And I'm expecting to see missions associated with that as soon as they've got that in. And when do you think NPCs will be serious so we can interact with them and they are usable? Usable? What do you mean by usable? They are working on behaviors for that at the moment. I'm going to start to see that more with vendors to start with, though. Any chance of a hair patch? Oh, like a toupee? They are going to be updating the character customizer and the assets that NPCs are made out of with new hair and facial hair in the future. Hey, Board. Cloud Imperium added the progress tracker for Star Citizen for a few months now. Do you feel this feature has added more transparency to the project of overall? A little bit. It needs more context. It needs more updates, and people need to be asking questions about it and having teams. So what I'd like to see is every week a different section of teams give some updates on what they've sort of been doing, and this would be separate from the monthly reports, is separate from Inside Star Citizen. But I would like to see sort of like, and now we've got the team update, and they select a random team maybe, or a feature, or a section of teams, and they sort of give us some updates on that. I think that would go a long way to having a bit more context for the roadmap. What are the chances of you streaming Squadron 42 gameplay when it releases? I'll either do a video or stream of it day it releases. That would be my expectation. Will slab trending be a thing at some point in the future? Potentially. I mean, the Banu literally do it. I think that there won't be prisons so much around the Banu areas. They'll be more orientated towards that sort of camps for like hard labor. So, I mean, some of the things that NPCs do in the game, or the AI they've been building, is to look for players and NPCs to freeze dry. Flash freeze. Dry freeze? Whatever it is, so that they can then sell them. Are there plans for large ships to have their own gravitation fields? So they want gravity generators, but they won't have a ship actually affecting gravity of other things nearby, I don't believe. That'd be amazing if they did, but the Gen 12 renderer is supposed to be slowly rolled out in 4.0. Wait and see. I think that they're improving bits to the Gen 12 renderer and Star Citizen all the time graphically. I don't think we'll see the Gen 12 renderer until 3.15, but I think we'll see a good implementation of that in 3.15, but that's not confirmed. Hi there, are sunglasses and monocle kind of flair reserved for big spenders? The monocle is the one you've seen, and the top hat will be concierge, at least $1,000. Some of the shades that you might have seen, well, I think you can get them in game, but some of the shades are like I put a pair of shades that you got for testing Theatres of War at CitizenCon 2019. So if you already asked, when do you think the Drake Vulture will launch? So I think we could possibly see it around the same time they get Salvage out. Maybe. I'm hoping. Are there any communist aliens in the universe? Probably. Their social structures are all going to be different. Kurthak might be. So it might work for aliens. With aliens, it's real communism. No, let's not get into dumb political conversations. I want to keep my channel politically. It's a game. Keep politics out of game. Although it is an AMA. Shut up. Port Olisar replaced soon. It's an old asset, and I'm sure it's very unoptimized compared to the new stations. Yes, but it's not appropriate the same way. It hasn't got the same facilities. It gets grief camped and PvP camped like hugely. And Luke Presley said, "Look, we are going to be replacing Port Olisar at some point. We're going to be replacing landing pads largely with hangars, and there's going to be new defenses as well." Do you think we will get the option of being alien? Potentially in the future after release, so very far in the future, you might be able to play as another alien race. But that's not going to be any time soon. When do you think the Merchantman will be available to fly? End of Q3 next year? Maybe if we're lucky. Usable means to set NPC as a pilot, gunner, or similar role. Oh, so when we might have NPC crew, expect to see AI blades first, and sort of like AI controlled turrets, and then they'll move on to NPC controlled turrets. That's going to be a while out though, because it's a bit more complex to have NPCs controlling stuff. Right. Any other quick questions that we can go through? Because otherwise, I want to go and have lunch, check on my mother and father, make sure they're doing okay, and get this interview with a whale video out, which is gonna. I really enjoyed talking to JP. He's a good chap. Hey Bob, what's your opinion on Port Olisar? Would you prefer CIG replace it or keep it? I prefer them to replace it. I prefer them have a small station somewhere as Port Olisar, but you need a major planetary station by Crusader, and Port Olisar is not fit for purpose for that. So they didn't need it. They could have it as different, and they could have a load of the services at Crusader, at Orison, but. Well, I will say the stream says hi to my mum and dad. They will not understand what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm a bit confused about the Ares ship. They said they had very fast progress on those. So is there a chance we'll see them late 3.14, or they're coming in 3.15, aren't they? I think they're planned for 3.15 currently. Ships and vehicles 3.15. Ares Starfighter, Ion and Inferno, yes. 3.15. Currently planned for. Should see them. Anything been said about player customization of server blades to be more or less aggressive? Make the front turrets aggressive and back turrets defensive? I think the idea is that with the AI modules, you can give them a specific task. So yeah, maybe you could have the front turrets and with the particular blade going attack all fighters that enter this area, and other ones attacking, shooting down missiles and torps. Probably, maybe, question mark. I'll have to see exactly how they make that work in the future. Would you want Port Olisar as an arena commander map? Yes. Or Theatres of War map. Yeah, that works. Do you think exploration will be on par with games with large proc-gen galaxies? It's going to be a very different experience. But I would see some of the scanning down of points of interest as partially proc-gen. It is going to be more tailored by the dynamic universe simulation stuff, but there's going to be a huge portion of exploration there as well. But it's not going to be flying around trying to find new star systems so much. I mean, it might be an element of that. What existing system or part of the game do you feel needs changing, upgrading, finishing with the greatest immediacy. I want to see physicalized components and the physical damage system in, because then they can balance a huge amount of stuff. I mean, you could also argue that getting server meshing in is super important as well. But do you think we will see full functionality of mining ships before beta release? Yes. Or close enough. Minzin will be playing 3.14 together, and we'll be doing that a mixture on stream and in videos. How finished is server meshing? Halfway, almost done, barely started. I'm expecting to see version 1 of server meshing middle of next year. Then they want to do dynamic server meshing, which is a magnitude more complicated, but have a great day. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. How do you think the banner merchant will be set up? Player shops as money-making opportunities instead of just tooling? Yes. So the idea that CIG last said, that you always have an automated terminal or NPCs that you hire to look after your shops there, and you set what type of shop it is, and then the stock of that shop. So you could have a clothing shop there, you could have a component shop there, whatever. Do you think the Perseus will come sooner than later due to the size 7 weapon coming out with 3.15? I mean, the Perseus is quite a large ship, but it doesn't require any new tech or anything as far as I'm aware, other than those size 7 weapons. So we could see it end of next year sort of thing. Depends on the priorities. Do you think there might be enough stuff to explore to make it a gameplay loop, or we might run out of explorable stuff quickly? I think there's going to be a huge amount to explore, and exploration missions, and exploration is going to touch on a huge amount of gameplay, including finding things for all the other professions in game to do. I think it's going to be huge being a good explorer. When do you think CIG will start leaving ships that players can steal to fix and update? Abandoned Pyro. Don't know. But I would expect to start to see that. They could start doing that after they have proper repair mechanics in and physicalized components. No problem. I hadn't seen much on the paint, so I thought I'd ask. Bag of pork scratchings, please. What? What bag of scratch? I had a bag of pork scratchings last night. Because I'm gonna start to move back towards keto because I've started to gain quite a bit of weight. I'm trying to phase out keto. Actually. Demetris within the demo. SFD. Look. Okay. I'm not pro commie, okay? So let's get, but stop trying to make anything political here. No, people don't want to engage with that on my chat. It's a game. We play game. No political stuff. Communism wrong, okay? Probably. I don't go away. Leave me alone. don't want people to know any opinions on any of this. Go away. Go away. Talking about Star Citizen. Bored. YouTubers trying to make me feel bad because I don't give to you through their platform. Tell them to stop. Stop it, YouTube. It's okay. You can give me. I love you. Don't you worry. I love you. It's all good. You give me any way you want, or not. You can just be here. It's all good. We was meant to see Theaters War ages ago. Poor netcode, needs more optimization. expect to see some more of testing of it in 3.14's branch. Would you prefer to see Port al-Assad destroyed? I mean, I would prefer, if they could do it, to Port al-Assad to go out in a big community event that lasted several hours that people knew was going to happen, and they were trying to defend it, and eventually maybe it got destroyed or replaced or whatever. Yeah, I would. I used the game here, got the Raylan, but also want the M2. Think it's worth getting an M2. I mean, it's a cool ship. They are very different cargo ships. I mean, the M2 is more of a military-focused one that has the ability to carry the Tonk that you've just seen and can see here, a couple of them, and ground vehicles much more readily, and a complement of troops, whereas the Raylan is much more a focused cargo hauler, with cargo out the back and that can't really carry vehicles, and it can't really carry troops. Do you think the Raylan and the Caterpillar will fill different roles? Yeah, so Caterpillar, internal storage, can carry a bit different size stuff because it's not all separated into multiple pods. And there's going to be a huge amount of modularity with the Caterpillar. Royal Stalker seems pretty done in the Progress Tracker. Will it be the first fauna we see or space whales? That is a good question. It is possible that the Boreal Stalker will be one of the first animals we see. I am going to dash off. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate people joining me here today. Thank you very much for modding. Jaybird, you are a scholar and a gent, and I love your face. We will have to at some point catch up. What are your thoughts on Star Citizen refunds? The Reddit, they can have their own group to discuss the things they want to talk about. Do I think some of a large portion of what they talk about is memes and sort of just general Star Citizen lols, sort of like Star Citizen bad lol meme. Yeah, I mean that's the theme. That they are a Star Citizen do bad interest group in the way I see them. Not all of them. Some of them have quite reasonable worries and concerns about the game. Some of them are disenfranchised by certain other people in the Star Citizen community, and I've gone to have a look at Star Citizen refunds, and a large portion of the Star Citizen refunds are probably pretty reasonable. But a small point, a lot of posters there are shit posters, so it's all good. That's what I think of it. Doesn't mean I'm right, but, you know, that's the way I see it. Anyway, I am going. But thank you very much for the love. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully we'll have 3.14 first wave PTU very soon. It'll be miraculous and awesome if we have it by this weekend, but I think much more likely next weekend. 3.14, I'm expecting live middle of July, and I'm looking forward to the Ninetales lockdown with that. So yeah, love you guys. Take care. Oh, actually, let me find you a streamer to leave you with. Thank you very much for Anna for rating us as well. The voice of Rowena Dooley. I will leave you with my... Take care, guys. Love you loads. Talk soon. Loves and kisses. Have a good weekend. No, have a good week. Can't remember what day it was. I'm going to have some lunch, talk to Zin, start getting this video out, and then have a nap.